Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today I spent a good part of the day building bongo high nipple stoves. I don't have a lot to do a video on tonight, and I didn't do a video last night, so I'm feeling kind of guilty that I should do something for a video tonight. So I've got a few things I'd like to touch on, and that'll be my video for tonight. I had a person email me and ask me what my pot stands, these wire pot stands, were made out of, and I emailed them back and told them steel. They want to know if they're made out of stainless steel. I said no, not stainless steel, just steel. And then they want to know if it was galvanized steel, and I replied back to them that yes, it is galvanized steel. And their next reply was, where can I get a stainless steel one? Because I understand that galvanized, when heated, gives off bad fumes. Now, I think I've addressed this a few times, so let me run this by you one more time. It doesn't make any difference. Tomorrow I'll get an email on the same thing, but just for grins and giggles, I'll just do it one more time. This is made out of steel wire, and it's covered with galvanized, which I believe is zinc. When you light a stove, and if it's a side burner, if it's a bongo, you'll never have the problem, but if it's a side burner like a BIOS, the heat will come out, and the flame will come out, and it'll heat this up. Now, if it heats this hot enough, the zinc will vaporize and give off fumes, which are not good for you. The point I'd like to bring up here is, if you're outside, it wouldn't be a problem, but much more important is, it only does it once. When this heats up and gives off fumes, it gives off fumes for about, it's probably 3 seconds, but I'll say 10 seconds. 10 seconds with a little bit of white fumes, the zinc all burns off, it's gone forever, it'll never come back again, and it's over, and that's it. It's a non-event. Every time you use it after that, it'll be fine. Even if you put your head right over it and breathe it in, and what do you think this gives off when I weld these every time I do a batch of them? I've got them down here, and I've got double wires, and when I hit it, and I get a little puff of white smoke off it. That's the same thing that everybody's worried about. And I don't even wear a mask or anything. I do it inside because it's usually raining outside when I do them. It's a rainy day project, and I breathed in tons of this. It's never had any effect on me. So that pretty much takes care of that. If you don't want a galvanized pot stand and you don't want the initial 10-second of fumes, don't buy a wire pot stand from me. Buy one from somebody else. If you can find somebody else that makes one out of stainless steel, you can't, but that's my stand on it. I'm not going to go to stainless steel. This has worked fine for many years and will continue to many years from now. Second thing off is I had a gentleman, and this is starting to turn into a bit session, and I apologize for that, but this needs to be addressed. I had a gentleman in Australia who got one of my bongo squirrel cage stoves, and he was upset with the finish of it. He said that it wasn't up to his expectations, and it wasn't anything like the one that I baited people with on my videos. So let's take a closer look at this. This is the one and the only squirrel cage stove that I personally own, and the one I use every day. Same one with a blue on the bottom. And the reason why there's blue on the bottom, if I can get it back, is because the bottom is badly marred. That's the reason why I own it, not somebody else. This is one of the old styles, and the disc was put in, and I super glued it in place. And then when I walked out of the building with it, it was raining. The water hit it, and the super glue went everywhere. And it's just plain butt ugly. I couldn't sell that to somebody, so I kept it for myself. I put this blue stuff over it to cover it up. You can also see that it has some problems on the top also. And it's got a dent in it right there. It's just generally, the legs aren't straight on it. It was one of the early ones. It's a piece of junk. Not something I would want to bait people with. The ones I sell people are much, much better than this. And I'd kind of like to have one myself, but since I sell them just as fast as I make them, I never seem to get one. So please don't accuse me of baiting people with really good, shiny, beautiful stoves and then selling junk. The stoves are handmade, and I've done a survey several times asking people about the surface finish, and it's been unanimous every time. People are not interested in a very shiny, well-polished surface finish that's going to obviously cost more money, because if I have to polish them, I'm going to get paid for it. Everybody seems to prefer just a utility finish, just a straight utility finish, machine marks, fine. Now, the stain that he was complaining about was on the bottom, and my reply is I don't usually spend a lot of time on surface finish on something that's going to be on the ground and out of sight. If you turn your refrigerator upside down, you'll find that underneath it, where it touches the floor, it's pretty ugly. So wires and black paint and scratches, that's where all the sin comes, right on the bottom. If you can't deal with that, don't buy a stove from me, because they're all that way. Okay, anything else? The One Egg Wonder lid is selling very briskly, so much so that I had to raise the price on it a little bit. And that brings me to my last point. The stoves are selling way, way faster than I can build them. It's gotten to the point where I get up in the morning and it's just a joke to see what I'm going to build today, because I'm so far behind folks that I can't even see daylight at the end of the tunnel. I've sold my future on these stoves. So, that having been said, and sales that high on a daily basis, is pretty obvious. I'm not charging enough for the stoves. I mean, that's an unspoken truth that nobody wants to hear, but if you're selling something faster than you can make it, you know, day in and day out, year in and year out, you're just not charging enough, bottom line. Sales are controlled by quality and price. If the quality is high and the price is low, you're going to sell more than you can make. If the price is high and the quality is low, you're not going to sell any, as a lot of my competitors have found out. The quality is high. It is a utility finish. The stoves are very unique, and they sell too fast. So I've raised the price a little bit. Not alarming, well, alarming on some of them. I did raise the price on the Bongo high nipple a lot, because the price between the high nipple and the next stove up was twice as much. It was too big a price gap between the two of them. So what I did was I lowered the price of the next stove up. That's it. I lowered it $10, and I raised the price of the high nipple by $15. So now they're priced more where they should be. There's almost as much work in a high nipple as there is a pro. So I had to straighten that out. I should have done it a long time ago. And you know, if that's going to be a really big problem, just don't buy one. That's all. I'm not trying to be a wise guy, but I'm not going to listen to people whine. If you can't deal with it, don't buy the stove. If you don't want utility quality finish, just straight, some machine marks, you know, little rough edges. If you can't deal with that, don't buy the stove. These are not polished. This is not a bait and switch thing. These stoves are just as I make them. They're made by a machine and assembled by me. And the finish is acceptable, but it's not a polished finish. I repeat that. These stoves are not polished. They are just a machine finish. If my tooling stays good and sharp, the finish is pretty good, but it's a long ways from polished. Okay, a few hours ago, we had a really big windstorm here and rain, and one of the trees out in my front on the road that goes by the house, I live in a very wooded area, big rock maple, a great big old limb came off of it, went right across the road, went right over my neighbor's dooryard. So I had to go out with a chainsaw and work for about 45 minutes or an hour while traffic piled up on the road and clear a limb out, which at the base was close to 2 feet. Yeah, about 60 feet long. Midway it was 12, 14 inches. A lot of work. But it's all cleared out now. It's all in the ditch. And I gave the wood away because I just had 10 cords of wood delivered, all cut and split. And I really didn't want to work on this wood. So I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike. Take a friend. Enjoy the great outdoors. And more important than anything, have a really great day. Bye-bye.